So time series methods are the ones that use historical demand to calculate the forecast. So in this case, I have what we call naive forecast, which is only saying that, okay, the demand for the next month is going to be exactly the same as the demand for this month that already happened, right? But other methods are kind of a little bit more complicated. We're going to see the most simple here, which is the simple moving average, which just calculate an average of the last 2, 3, or 4 months to forecast the demand for the next month. Okay, so the book also present weighted moving average, exponential smoothing that gets a little bit more complicated, but we're not going to see that. And again, in operation supply chain major, there's a class that study a lot more in depth on kind of a lot more complex forecast methods. Simple moving average, as I said before, is just average. Okay, so you're going to take different periods of time, and you have to pay attention here because the problem will tell you if it wants you to calculate in the 3-week moving average or 2-week moving average or 4-week moving average or 5-week moving average. And you have to know that because that's going to be your N. That's going to be the number of periods that you have to use to calculate the average and to forecast the next month. So you're going to take these last demands, average, and that's going to be your forecast. Okay. So it's going to look a lot more simple when we do a problem. So let's look at this problem. Asking us to compute the 3-week moving average forecast for arrivals in a medical clinic patient in week 4. So very, very on the topic that everybody's talking about, clinical patients, medical. The number of arrivals in the past 3 weeks were as follow. So we have here the demand of week 1, 2, and 3. We have the arrivals 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to use a 3-week moving average to calculate 4. So basically, you're only taking the average of these 3 numbers here, and that's going to be the forecast of 4. Okay? Then it's going to give me the actual week 4 and calculate the forecast error and also forecast week 5. So moving average forecast of end of week 3 is going to be what? So it's basically 400 plus 380 plus 411 and divide by 3. Okay, so very simple math, really easy. Just you need to understand what numbers you guys have to use when you're doing the problems. Okay, so how am I going to calculate the forecast error of week 4? So I know that my forecast was 397. I know that actually arrived 415. So demand minus forecast equal error was going to be 18. And now in C is asking us to do the forecast of week 5. So we have week 1, 2, 3, and we know that 4 is going to be 415. But we're doing 3 weeks moving average. So only taking the 3 weeks of recent data before the week 5 to calculate week 5. So it's going to be week 2, week 3, and week 4 to calculate week 5. Okay? So that's what we have. 415 week 4, 411 week 3, and 380 week 2, to calculate week 5, which is 402. This is kind of a very similar example, just taking month, and again, we're going to use a 3 months moving average. So we're going to take the last 3 months, 740, 810, 790, 3 last month, divided by 3, and we get a forecast for month 5, 780. If it actually was 805, we can calculate the error here, right? And then we can calculate also the forecast of week 6. Again, I'm only taking the last 3, so now we went over 1 week. So we take week 5, 4, and 3, okay? Going over the rest of this problem is asking us to do the forecast error, and then it's just demand minus forecast, as we saw before, right? So if the demand was 805, forecast was 780, then the forecast error was 25.